Incoming transmission.
Calling to all that have remained loyal to the Imperium of Man, the great Emperor of mankind has fallen to the forces of chaos. It's not you who has betrayed humanity, it is him, so stand tall, and fight to the very end against this chaos.
Hi guys, Newsprint out, and guess what? Starting my new series, The Emperor's Heresy, a Daunian heresy with my own twist to it. More so, instead of Horus versus the Emperor, it's Horus versus a Chaos Emperor. Basically, the Emperor has fallen to the forces of chaos and has become this, Slanesh, Zinch, Khorne, and Nurgle, the abomination that commands the majority of the armies in the warp. So basically, think of him more as like a vessel of command, sort of like a general for all four armies. It's interesting to see, and it's going to be interesting if or when I make it. But when I do, I plan to go all out with the model and with sculpting, kit bashing, and all of it to make this model. I just got to find a suitable host for the Emperor. Or find someone who's made a miniature already. So enough talking. Well, there'll be more talking about lore and stuff throughout the video. Hope you guys enjoy this kind of content. If you want to see more Emperor Heresy more Emperor's Heresy, please let me know in the description in the comments down below. Not description, the comments down below. Leave a like, consider subscribing, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Let's get straight into it. There you go. I apologize ahead of time. The object in front of the camera is my light. It has moved slightly. I do fix it up. I do apologize. All I did in that part was just grabbing bits from my bits to make this Emperor's Children loyalist. Because if I remember correctly, the Emperor's Children fell to chaos, and therefore I'm going to bring them back to loyalist. The god they fell, I believe, was Slanesh, which kind of makes sense. And I will potentially make a Chaos Emperor's Children once I get around to it. But so far, I make this Emperor's Children model using a sword and a shield. Basically making a Blade Guard Emperor's Children soldier. Because I do not have the Bolter Spear. I do not know the name of it right at this very moment, but I do not have it, therefore I cannot use it, so I do apologize for that not being lore accurate, but I do believe it is a quite good contrast between them. In this you can see me, basically carving down the pauldron areas so I can put the shoulder pads on and so they fit. I also severed the sword to give it a larger one because it just looks better personally. Just simple removing sprues and cleaning up bits and bobs on this miniature so it looks better in the final results. After gluing everything together, I take it out to prime with good old-fashioned White Scar primer. I use White Scar primer. Be back in a minute. I let the primer dry on this model. It does look faster than it should, but I was outside for a bit longer than I should have while I waited for this to prime. Well, dry. Here's what the miniature looks like after being primed. I'm quite impressed with how good this looks, surprisingly, with a sword and shield. So therefore I kept going with it. I used Tyrannid Purple for their carapace, and I believe it is crushed saw or dried saw from the Army Pages range to make this royal purple. And I used it because I liked it and it reminded me of Emperor's Children, so it worked. I did thin it down a bit too much for my airbrush, so it did come out really watery, and that I wish I didn't do it like that, but I did, and so therefore I've got to live with the consequences, and I will. So after a few layers of using the dry brush with this, not the dry brush, the airbrush with this, it finally gave me the colours I wanted and looked nice, so I went with it. Then I just went in with the brush and just finished off the areas I didn't like, which was a lot of them, but it worked in the end. I seal in the paintwork with my airbrush and anti-shine varnish from the Army Painters range. I am running low on that, so I will have to replace that soon, but I'll get to that when I get to it. After letting the varnish dry, I take the model outside to dry in the sun because I'm impatient and the sun rays work a lot better than a heat gun that could melt the plastic, so I went with the safer option. I start this process by using, I believe, Wraithbone for the shield base, just to block out the normal colours for a shield in 40k. Then I am to give it a gold trim as always. I also have a more lore-driven story coming up very soon. It ain't going into very big detail, it's just a basic idea, and I'll let my friends do it for me. So be prepared for that once it sounds like a Space Marine's talking. I do apologise for my big head. I've recently just bought myself magnifying glasses, what do you call them, for painting, so that should help, and you might get a different angle while I paint. The reason I bought them is to stop this, and because I am partially blinded. I have a problem seeing things up close, and so I got these to bring things closer to me, so I can actually see it better. Also, his sword decided to be annoying, so I've had to deal with that. But they kept going on with the gold trim and all the gold details to really signify this is a Emperor's Children soldier. Or Emperor's Child. What would they be called if it was a singular one? Oh well. Please correct me in the comments if it's Emperor's children or Emperor's child for this, if it's a singular unit, but it is what it is. I did remove his arms so I could paint them. I have no other things to say about that, but it did make it easier. I did a bit of cleanup from the areas I overspilled with the gold. Just fixed up a bit. Made it look nice. Here is my friend.
The Emperor's heresy. Rise of the Chaos Emperor. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. The galaxy is a battlefield where the forces of order and chaos clash in an eternal struggle. Among the countless tales of betrayal and heresy, one stands out as a dark and twisted alternative to the Horus heresy, the Emperor's heresy, where the Emperor himself succumbed to the temptations of the ruinous powers. The primordial chaos as the Great Crusade thundered on, forging the Imperium of Man in the name of the Emperor of Mankind. The forces of chaos festered in the darkest corners of the galaxy. In this grim and unrelenting era, a powerful cabal of chaos sorcerers and corrupt advisors managed to breach the Emperor's psychic defenses. Their combined efforts tapped into his deepest fears, doubts, and desires, making him vulnerable to the malevolent influence of the four chaos gods. The dark ascent slowly, insidiously, the Emperor fell under the sway of the chaos gods. Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and Khorne whispered their promises of power, immortality, and dominion into his mind. At first, he resisted, but the unending war and the burdens of leading the Great Crusade began to wear him down. The Emperor's once unwavering willpower faltered, and he started to embrace the forbidden rituals and dark powers offered to him. The Apostles of Ruin, the Chaos Emperor, secretly gathered a cult of loyal followers, known as the Apostles of Ruin, composed of high-ranking Imperial officers, Primarchs, and even Space Marines. They were initiated into the worship of the Chaos Gods, their souls irrevocably corrupted by the malevolent forces that sought to tear apart the Imperium. These apostles manipulated the Imperium's resources to sow discord and dissent among the loyal legions. The ruinous crusade with his newfound power and the corrupted legions at his command. The Chaos Emperor launched a devastating campaign against the Imperium. Brother turned against brother, and loyal Space Marines were pitted against their once loyal Primarchs. The galaxy plunged into an unimaginable war, where the forces of chaos and order clashed with cataclysmic force. The descent into madness as the war raged on. The Chaos Emperor became increasingly unhinged. His once noble vision for humanity was twisted into a nightmarish nightmare of chaos worship and bloodshed. His four chaos patrons reveled in his descent into madness, each vying for his loyalty
Hope you guys
and
enjoyed
offering
this
ever
video.
greater
For some
power.
more content like this, and more content of turning chaos into loyalists, and loyalists into chaos, I'll do that with, I believe, I'm going to do either Blood Angels or Ultramarines next. That'd be interesting to see what god I choose for them. So if you guys like this kind of content, please consider liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you for joining my heresy. Let's go see you guys in the next one.